Hey, everybody. I really was making you wait. I didn't forget. I was making you wait. Well, because waiting's fun, right? You all like waiting? You started to get a little uncomfortable, thought I was going to crash. I wasn't. I love waiting. It's super fun. Yeah, said no one ever. We hate waiting. You know where I do a lot of waiting? At the doctor's office. And for me, it's probably the worst part of the entire experience for me. And it's inevitable, right? I mean, we have to wait. If we all showed up at once, that'd be probably even worse, really chaotic. It can be long and stressful, right? If you're a parent like me, it could be just plain crazy. So if it feels uncomfortable to wait, or if it feels stressful and boring for you as adults, imagine what that feels like through the eyes of a child. Over 90% of the kids in the United States see a doctor every year. And on average, they're going to see a doctor 31 times from the time they're born to the time they're 21. Honestly, I think that number's low. My kids are at the doctor way more than that. And really, if you have sick kids, that number will easily double. Now, taking the kids to the doctor is no joke, right? It can be scary for them, it can be crazy. For parents, it's chaotic. In a recent national survey, half of parents reported that their kids were actually scared of going to the doctor. Does that seem insane? It's really not. Children often report feeling afraid or anxious about going to the doctor. And when kids are anxious, what's really happening is a lot of times they're imagining something much worse than what's really going on. Doctor's office, shot. Doctor's office, sick, right? It's this fear of the unknown, so they're making it up in their head. So they might worry that everything's gonna hurt, right? And they get stressed out. And that stress is real. Stress actually can impede healthcare, good quality healthcare. In that same study, 1 out of 5 parents actually said it was so hard to concentrate on what the doctor or nurse was saying because their kids were so upset that they delay routine appointments and vaccinations just to avoid the experience altogether. That's crazy. I mean, delaying healthcare because your kids get upset. It can even manifest into white coat syndrome. It's this phenomenon where your blood pressure actually rises into an abnormal range just at the thought of being at the doctor's office. 20% of us. So I think we can all agree, going to the doctor's office as a kid can be scary, right? Or maybe it's bringing up some emotions for you, right? Think back to when you were a kid. This is me, back when I was cool. Yeah. When I was a kid, I don't have so many memories about the doctor's office per se, but I have a lot of vivid memories about going to the dentist as a kid. So when I was little, it was a big deal to go to the dentist in my family. My mom would have to get us out of school early, and she'd load us all up into the car, and she'd drive us about a half hour away into town for the dentist appointments. And let me tell you what this was like. So you walk into this medical office building with lots of different offices, and the first thing that you see when you walk into the lobby is this huge, bright blue sailfish on the wall. I mean, I'm talking like a 10-foot sailfish or marlin, I don't know, whatever it was. It's weird, right, on the wall? Like, what's with fish and dentist's office? Yeah, you're laughing because it's true. So anyway, once you get past the sailfish, you'd go down the steps into the basement, and there was this bathroom. And my mom always made us pack our toothbrushes and toothpaste, and she'd make us go into the bathroom, and we'd have to brush our teeth before we went back to get our teeth brushed and cleaned by the dentist. Was that just my mom? No, see, your mom did it too. That's funny, right? It was in those moments that I remember feeling anxious, nervous, right? Like, did I have a cavity, or was I gonna be in trouble because my teeth weren't clean? But not everything about the dentist's office was bad. 2 words: highlights magazines. Yes, yeah, still love them today. So the best part about going there was that if you got to be the first one in when the new edition was there, you could be the first one to circle all those hidden objects before somebody else screwed it up, had to cross things out in there. We also had a treasure chest, right? So like it was really just a glorified shoebox, but it had stickers in it, and that was awesome. And those moments, right, that we remember, that bring us joy, those are the moments when your fears about being there melt away. So it's been a few years since that picture. I'm still cool, but I'm a mom now. Chocolate's still life. But as a mom, right, as an adult, I carry that baggage with me, along with my parenting fears, right, as I take my own kids to the waiting room. So what's it like to take kids to the doctor's office? I'll tell you what it's like to take my kids to the doctor's office. They're sweet, they're lovely, lovely kids, but let me tell you a story. About a year ago, I took both of them to the doctor's office for a routine visit. Wellness checks, nothing scary. In fact, we always tell them, like, my husband and I will say, like, no owies, right? No shots, because that's what they're always thinking. Like, if they got to go to the doctor, they're getting a shot. So when you take kids to the dentist or the doctor's office, you walk in, you check in, you do your paperwork, and the receptionist hands you a clipboard with about a 4-page questionnaire, and she says, okay, you're all checked in. Go over here, sit down, and wait, and the nurse will call you when she's ready. Okay, sounds good. So we go over, and I take my seat, and I start in on my 4-page questionnaire, and my kids start being kids. And what do? They're on the floor, they're climbing on chairs, they're digging in my purse, right? Like, can I have a snack? Right? Can I have your phone, Mom? And I'm like, no, can you just sit down and be still? Because that's the expectation, right? I mean, it's informal. It's not like there's rules in the waiting room, but you're supposed to go in and sit down and be quiet and wait patiently for the doctor will see you now. But what other choice did they have, right? It's either clinging to me out of fear or running around. And this particular doctor's office had one option for them, a children's area. Well, it wasn't much of a children's area. It was a big screen TV up in the corner and 2 of these like tiny little plastic chairs for them to sit on. That was it. So think about that experience, and you may have had something similar happen, right? In that chaotic, like stressful moment as a parent, I knew that we could do better. I knew that this experience could be better, not just for my family, but for all the families that have to go through that. So how was I gonna do that? That's when I started digging in. I work for a large healthcare organization. I've spent a lot of my career trying to do really good things for kids. I have 2 children's programs at this organization, one aimed at empowering kids to make healthy choices for life, the other aimed at inspiring kids to be curious, problem-solving, critically thinking adults. So I'm not a pediatric nurse or a designer or a doctor. I'm a healthcare administrator, but I'm invested in kids' wellness, personally and professionally. So when you're me, where do you start? Well, I was really lucky. I had an organization behind me that supported this idea to make this better, and I have a crazy talented team beside me to help take this idea to the next level and make it happen. Well, there's no roadmap for this. So what you do is you look for models that exist already, right? You don't need to reinvent the wheel for this. But the problem is waiting rooms haven't really changed that much since I was a kid, or even since my parents were kids. Here's a level set. This is what a waiting room looked like back in the 19-something, when I was a kid. Mauve, sage green probably gives it away. Here's what a waiting room looks like now. There's not much difference. You can see the addition of the big screen TV, a little play area in the corner, but really kind of void of stimulation. These are both actually pediatric waiting rooms. Basically, since the 1970s, healthcare environmental research has been around, and it's been focused on improving the patient experience, which is good, right? But it's improving the experience for adults, the stakeholders, really, right? The ones making medical decisions, paying the bills. They're the stakeholders, not kids. The research focused on kids focuses on hospital rooms, right? Making sick kids feel better, or procedure areas, which makes a lot of sense, but doesn't really help me for trying to figure out what to do in a waiting room to make it fun. So without a model, you have to start looking at just designing for kids, right? So the research that's out there to support that, you look at schools, museums, and what you see when you design for kids, color, shapes, animals, movement, right? Fun things. These are positive distractions that can actually make kids feel comfortable in some of these settings. And play-based distractions are a good idea too, right? Yeah, play's a good answer. Mr. Rogers is famous for saying, play is the real work of childhood because it's serious learning for them. And he's right. Play is essential for kids. Over and over again, the research supports that play improves physical skills, mental ability, social and emotional awareness. So if play makes a lot of sense, why then do we insist, me included, that kids go in and sit down and be quiet and don't move and wait patiently? Have you met a kid? Wait, have you met my kids? Yeah, they're super patient. They love sitting down and being still. No, they don't. They're not wired for that. You guys, kids are not wired to sit down and not wiggle at all. And that's why these waiting rooms have to change. We need developmentally appropriate, active, fun waiting room spaces that feel a whole lot kinder to these kids we're trying to entertain. Play areas and waiting rooms that can cater to both sick kids and well kids. So that's a novel idea, right? Do I have you convinced? Yes, play areas everywhere, right? So if play is the answer to decreasing kids' anxiety and improving the patient experience for families, why aren't they in every clinic, dentist's office across the nation? Is it possible to create these fun spaces but keep them clean, without screens, make them fun? A place that can make sick kids smile? Well, it turns out it's not that easy. Yeah. Play areas and waiting rooms are kind of a tricky thing. Show me if you remember these. Yeah, see, bringing back lots of memories. These are bead mazes. These are fun. These are entertaining for kids. They were really popular in the 90s. They probably still exist in a lot of the spaces today. But let me tell you something. These are disgusting. They are. They are full of germs. It's impossible to clean these things, right? And post-pandemic, toys like this are going to be obsolete. So they're gone, right? So if we can't have these and we don't put in TVs, what are we supposed to do? We have to start thinking like kids. We have to get creative and use our imagination. And that's what our team did. We started thinking about kids. Think about your kids, or your grandkids, or maybe yourself as a child. When are they the happiest? Right? When they're playing, when they're just moving around and playing. So now imagine that joy that they find in a museum or a park, and we're going to take that joy from the park and we're going to put it into a pediatrician's office. Taking a place that can spark fear in kids and turning it into a place that can spark curiosity and imagination. Here's what happens when you think like kids and you think big. No, not this one. This is the before picture. This is a remodel project. So this was an existing children's area here in a clinic that the clinic leadership thought my crazy idea was a good one. And this dark, sort of cramped space, all the toys had been taken out. It really didn't get used much. And it was a blank slate for us, right? And we took it, and we took all that inspiration from where kids play, sensory paths, mindfulness. We thought about yoga. We thought about building spaces for every kid to enjoy, regardless of their ability. and we made something extraordinary. This is what it looks like when you design for kids. It's bright, it's colorful. It's a place where they don't have to sit down and be quiet. There's no shushing, right? There's no don't touch anything, stop touching, stop touching. This is a welcoming space, and the best part is that there's no toys in here to clean. There's no directions. It's really easy and it's really fun. When kids come in, they see a castle space and they see bright colors. They see kids that look like them on the wall. They can pretend to be ogres or princesses as they make their way through the pathway in the castle on a sensory path. They can do yoga. These are mine, by the way. These are my two. They're showing me their favorite throne poses, right? King poses. So there's a yoga wall where they can do some breathing and some yoga exercises. They're not digging in my purse now. They're hopping on one foot. They're making silly faces. They're instinctively doing what kids do, and they're having fun. This makes me so happy. As a healthcare administrator, this makes me really, really happy, but it makes me even happier as a mom, as a parent, to see kids in a space like this. Now this is their core memory, not a blue sailfish in a basement dentist's office, right? This is my son Maverick and my daughter Mila. When I took them to see the space for the first time, they instinctively ran to it. Mom, can we play? And I said, absolutely. And all I had to do was stand back and watch. They immediately took off, hopping on the path, skipping through, laughing and playing. This is a space now that they think is for fun, right? Can we go back to that doctor that has that fun castle in the waiting room? This is what it looks like when you design for kids. That space says to kids, you belong, and we're glad you're here. So as a parent, would you want your kids to have an experience like that? Would it make things easier for you or better for you? Doctors, nurses, dentists, would you want your patients to have an experience like that? Administrators like me, do you see this as an opportunity to market your space? This clinic reports fabulous results. They're seeing more and more parents interacting and playing with their kids versus offering iPads or phones as a distraction while they wait. The doctors are happy, staff love it, and as a healthcare organization, it feels really good to practice what we preach. Now, this is just one idea, right, in one clinic, but it made a difference. And big or small, everybody, every investment in kids is meaningful and it's impactful. And maybe the return on this investment for us isn't about revenue, but it's about our kids having positive experiences. Because when children play, the world wins. This is about investing in their well-being, creating joyful spaces worthy of the kids they serve. A place for kids to play, but really a place to treat kids like the stakeholders they really are.